Given my fondness for wizard pipes and white Russians, it will come as no surprise to you that the dude is not a Muslim. But that does not mean he cannot appreciate one of the Quran's most striking statements, found in Surah 21, verse 35. We try you with evil and with good as a test, and unto us shall you be returned. In Islam, the blessings of life are tests of faith just as much as the struggles of life. This notion is implicit throughout all of Jewish and Christian scripture, but to my knowledge, nowhere in the Bible is the concept articulated so succinctly and explicitly as in the Quran. Furthermore, I believe this articulation is valuable to all people of faith, and also to those without faith. To flesh out the philosophy behind the Muslim view of tests, allow me to read a few excerpts from the commentary in my study Quran concerning the verse we just read and others like it that explore this message. Encounters with both good and evil serve as tests of faith, since ease may make people overly exultant or forgetful, while adversity can make them despairing or ungrateful. One can be tried with sickness as well as good health, poverty as well as wealth, error as well as guidance. Or people are tried as to whether they will do what is obligatory and abstain from what is forbidden. The test by what is good is whether one will be grateful to God and be generous with what God provides, and the test by what is evil is whether one will be patient. The overall effect of these verses is to encourage detachment in relation to adversity and prosperity in this world, avoiding both bitterness and self-satisfaction, and to engender an awareness that the vicissitudes of earthly life are merely a divine test and do not necessarily reflect either divine pleasure or dissatisfaction. For the religious, whether they be Christians, Jews, Muslims, etc., the lesson here is broadly applicable. If you just got a raise, a new job, car, house, or other blessing of life, such as marrying the person of your dreams, give thanks to God, but don't take his blessing as an endorsement of all your thoughts and behaviors. Don't take it as proof that you're a noble person whom God approves of and who deserves all this grandeur. Don't take it as a reason to rest on your laurels, interrogate your soul no more, and forget the God who gave you it all. Instead say, this is a test no less treacherous than the test of hardship. For the irreligious, the lesson here is also applicable when put in other terms. Normal, simple folk who suddenly find themselves in the spotlight of fame and celebrity rarely survive as the decent human beings they once were. This tragic, stereotypical reality can in large part be explained, I believe, by the fact that most people who become famous either intentionally or unintentionally do not pause to recognize their circumstance as a test of their identity, who they really are, and so they lose themselves without even realizing it. In Aldous Huxley's Brave New World, Bernard Marx starts out as a lonely man of convictions who despises the decadence of his completely engineered society. He sees through the matrix of nonsense surrounding him and most especially hates the way his male acquaintances speak about women as nothing more than pieces of meat to be used. But then, all of a sudden, he finds himself the talk of the town, and all those precious convictions go out the window. By the end of the novel, he becomes a hollowed-out slut of a man who uses women like they're nothing more than pieces of meat for his meat. Marx lost himself because he did not realize the danger he was in when people finally started paying attention to him. He failed to see the test as a test. But setting aside fame and celebrity, we all know the story of the man in poverty who wins the lottery. Rather than living long and prospering on the beach, the money goes rather quick, and with it, whatever character he had to begin with, leaving him with nothing, not even himself. So remember, whether you are religious or irreligious, life will send you tests that do not always appear to be tests. Therefore, your attitude should be that of constant vigilance, as one of my predecessors in the field of defense against the dark arts used to say.